Third number, displacement reaction. Before that, we must know about the reactivity series of the metal. Here we can see the potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, ferrous means iron, lead, hydrogen, copper, mercury, silver and the gold. This is the descending order of the reactivity series. Here at the first part, K means the potassium is there, it is the most reactive metal, while at the last Au means gold, it is the least reactive metal. Now the displacement reaction depends on this particular reactivity series. Now what is the actual definition of the displacement reaction? More active metal displaces the less active metal from its salt solution. Here the example is there, Fe plus CuSO4 gives me FeSO4 plus Cu. Now we can see in the reactivity series, the Fe means the iron is more reactive as compared to the copper. Here first of all we have to take the copper sulfate solution. It is blue in color, and when we add some iron nails in that one, at that time the chemical reaction takes place. As a result, we can get the FeSO4, we can say ferrous sulfate, and its color is green and the copper displaced. Now the double displacement reaction. The reaction in which the atoms or the groups of atoms displace the other atoms or the groups of atoms is known as the double displacement reaction. Now the equation is there, BaCl2 plus Na2SO4 gives me BaSO4 plus 2NaCl. Means what? When the barium chloride reacts with the sodium sulfate, we get the barium sulfate and the salt solution. Now the double displacement reaction is also known as the precipitation reaction. Now here BaCl2, it is in aqueous solution, sodium sulfate again in the aqueous solution. When we combine this solution, at that time we have the aqueous solution of the salt or NaCl, and the barium sulfate remains in the solid form. This BaSO4 solid form is also known as the precipitate, or we can say PPT in the short form. So this is the precipitation reaction. Now the fourth one, oxidation or the reduction reaction. First of all, oxidation reaction. The reaction in which the oxygen is added or the hydrogen is removed is known as the oxidation reaction. Example, C plus O2 gives me CO2. Second one, reduction reaction. The reaction in which the hydrogen is added or the oxygen is removed is known as the reduction reaction. Example is there, Cl2 plus H2 gives me 2HCl. Means when the chlorine and the hydrogen combine, we get the hydrogen chloride, or we can say hydrochloric acid. The next example is there, Cu plus O2 gives me CuO. When the copper is heated in the presence of the oxygen, at that time we get the copper oxide. Now the color of the copper is the brown color. When it burns in the presence of the oxygen, at that time they get combined and we have the copper oxide, and the color of the copper oxide is the black color. Now when the preheated copper oxide means the CuO and the hydrogen is passed over it, at that time we have again the copper and H2O removed. Means what? When the black color copper oxide and preheated and the hydrogen gas is passed over it, at that time we get the copper back. Here now the next one is the redox reaction. The reaction in which the oxidation and the reduction reaction takes place at the same time is known as the redox reaction. The reaction in which the oxidation and the reduction takes place. Now here the reactants, the one reactants get oxidized and the other reactants get reduced. Now let we take one example. CuO plus H2 gives me Cu plus H2O. Here CuO and we get the Cu means what? The copper oxide lose the oxygen, that means what? It reduces, and the hydrogen it gets the oxygen, so the hydrogen gets oxidized. So here both the takes place at the same time, so we can say this is the redox reaction. The next topic, rancidity. The food material contain fats or oil. When we put into the open air for the long time, then its smell and taste is changed, and this is known as the rancidity. Here the oxidation takes place of the fats or the oil, so there is a change in the smell and the taste. To avoid, we must keep such food into the airtight container to slow down its oxidation. Here, to stop the oxidation, generally in the packets of the chips sell into the market, in that packets the nitrogen gas is added as the antioxidant. Now the corrosion or the rusting of the iron. When any metal comes in the contact of the acid or the moisture, it gets rusted, and such process is known as the corrosion. When iron is kept in the open air for a long time, then it is covered with the reddish brown color, and this process is known as the rusting of the iron. The common formula for the rusting of the iron is the Fe2O3.XH2O. Due to the corrosion, the silver, when we kept into air, now the one layer of the black color is over it, and the copper convert into the green color. Remedies for the stop of the corrosion. First of all, it is very easy and cheap method to apply the paint on the iron surface. Second one, we can apply the oil on the small appliances like the hammer or the scissor. Third number, the thin layer of the zinc is coated on the iron surface, which is known as the galvanized iron. Why? Because the zinc is more active metal as compared to the iron. Fourth number, to stop the corrosion of the iron plates of the steamer, the blocks of the zinc or the magnesium are fitted. And fifth one, the easy and the best way to stop the corrosion, the making of the alloys. Now what is the mean by alloys? Alloy, the homogeneous mixture of the two or more than two metals, or metal and the non-metal. Now the example of the alloy, stainless steel. Now the stainless steel is the combination of iron, chromium and nickel. Percentage wise they are 70%, 20% and 10%. So by the which we can stop the corrosion